Welcome back to part number 4 and the finale of What If Anakin Saved His Mother and the Tuskens. Thank you for your great support on the other parts. If you are not aware of those, or are not subscribed, please do those first before watching this video. In the Galactic City Senate office building, Darth Sidious was displeased that Anakin had not fallen for his trap, and that somehow the Jedi had fallen through the nets cast by Ventress and the Separatist fleet. With Order 66 still in his armory, Sidious chose that his next move would be a bold one, and after his ship had been prepared, Sidious set course for the planet of Tatooine. The Sith Lord landed outside the palace of Jabba the Hutt in the Dune Sea, and walked along the path to the towering door. Unlike with most visitors, Sidious was not welcomed by the droid gatekeeper, and instead broke the mechanism with a bolt of Sith lightning, collapsing the Durasteel door onto the sand. The guards had been clearly disturbed by the entry, but they quickly fell at the blade of the Sith Lord. Striding into the throne room, Sidious had no time for pleasantries, and thrust both of his lightsabers into the Crime Lord, and then taking his throne. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi had just returned from their dramatic rescue of Obi-Wan, Anakin and Ahsoka from the planet of Felucia, and with the knowledge that the mysterious Tyrannus was in fact Dooku, they entered into the cell of the former Sith apprentice once more. Dooku had evidently not taken to his new life well, and with his final breaths, he muttered to the Jedi about Order 66. The Jedi swiftly walk out, and Anakin takes a trip to Padme's office, where she uses her senatorial powers to access the files of the Supreme Chancellor, finding Order 66 buried amongst the other list of powers wielded by Palpatine. Anakin quickly makes the connection to the clone army, and the Jedi Council deploys Shaak-Ti to deal with the threat through her knowledge of Kamino's cloning facility. Just as the Jedi Master departs, they receive another transmission from Tatooine, reporting of the death of the notorious Jabba the Hutt. Yoda is anxious that they could be walking into the trappings of the Separatists, considering their near-death experience in escaping Felucia. But with Master T on her way to disable one of Palpatine's weapons, this could be the definitive proof they needed that Sidious was Palpatine. The Jedi again deploy Obi-Wan, Anakin and Ahsoka alongside Yoda's newly assigned fleet, and finding their way back to the desert planet, they witness an unusual sight upon approach. A Separatist fleet was dormant and inactive, so Anakin and Obi-Wan took their starfighters to investigate the ships. Landing upon the largest Providence-class cruiser, they are met by Grievous and Ventress. The two Separatist warriors have no intention of attacking the Jedi, as they have just been betrayed by Darth Sidious after the Sith Lord had expressed his distrust in them both. With Grievous and Ventress not against them, the Jedi decide to use them to attack the threat on Tatooine, and they both agree. Descending in different ships to the surface below, they find their way to Jabba's palace through several speeders, and find an open entrance blocked by Jabba's carcass. Shifting the significant weight off of the ground, their footsteps punctured the silence in the corridor until they found Palpatine calmly seated in the throne. Pointing their lightsabers in his direction, Sidious looked at his failed allies in Grievous and Ventress, then ignited his blades. They both were aware of his power, but they could do nothing to stop it, as Grievous is discarded into a pile of scrap and Ventress is pushed towards the Rancor pit. Ahsoka knew she was thoroughly outmatched, and managed to save Ventress from death, and dragged her outside into the waiting arms of a group of clone medics, as she then pleaded for the assistance of Grandmaster Yoda. Back in the palace, Obi-Wan could tell that Sidious was toying with him and testing Anakin's powers. The Jedi Knight, however, was not falling for the tricks of the Sith Lord, so Sidious was forced to execute Order 66. The Jedi looked at each other with smugness, as nothing happened, before they were both struck by the mighty power of Sidious's lightning attack, sending them both sprawling into the throne room's walls. Before he could kill Obi-Wan, Yoda walked in and drew his lightsaber at Sidious, declaring his reign to be over. The two pillars of light and dark engage in a furious duel, and neither are getting the upper hand until Sidious was met by a blue lightsaber through his chest. Anakin had recovered to choose his fate and took the throne for himself. As the Jedi departed to clean up the death of the Supreme Chancellor, Anakin is surprised to see Shmi and Padme walk through the entrance, and they set about liberating the slavery that covered the planet. With the help of the Tuskens, the slavers were sentenced to their crimes, and Tatooine was a planet Anakin was willing to call his home. That is it for what if Anakin saved his mother and the Tuskens. If you enjoyed this what if, please like this video, turn on your notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.